Final. 2 race wins from 2 starts for the number 9 of Jacob Douglas from Canterbury. Two runner-up positions for the 20 of Dylan Grant from Mount Wellington. A 3rd and a 4th for the 33 of Clay Osborne. A 3rd and a 4th for the 25 of Hayden Baccaris. 4 drivers have filled those first 4 spots here so far in both heat races. Formation looks tight. We go all the way back to the number 11 of Blake Knowles. Let's go racing. Down into turn 1, Douglas gets passed by the 20 cut of, well, brilliant move around the outside for Dylan Grant. He found some grip up out high on that line on turn 1 and took the race lead. We've got one round at the back. Is that Zeal Jones? I think the 65. It is Zeal Jones from Mount Wellington. His day has not gone according to plan after yesterday's qualifying when he was in P1. Oh, we're going to reform. We're going to reform. So once again, I'm just a little bit too again. I'm sure his supporters won't be happy about this reform, but he had a brilliant move around the outside. There is grip up high around that first corner if you use it, and Dylan Grant found it. We can hear the Vortex lights warming up in the background, getting ready for their pre-final. As this field once again has to tighten up that formation to come face the starter. Grant, you can see they're aggressive on the tyre warm-up. The officials just slowing the pace down a little bit. Perhaps that's what they thought was the issue the first time. Just the pace was a bit too hot to the acceleration line. Lights out. Whoa, the big dive from that 2nd and 3rd row. They go 3 wide down into 1. How's that going to work out? Grant can't do the same manoeuvre. Looks like the number 9 of Jacob Douglas has held on to the race lead. 2nd place will be the 20 of Grant. I think it's Baccaris there in 3rd and the 25. 4th will be the 33, Clay Osborne. No, it's not. It's the 23 of Skeets. Then it's Osborne. Skeets makes a good start. Grant had a quick look over his shoulder. He's got early pace. Right on the back bumper now of Douglas as they run through the final turn to complete the opening lap. Number 20 of Dylan Grant straight back into the race lead. He's had enough of finishing 2nd. Grant will lead from Douglas. Baccaris there in 3rd. 4th place is Skeets. 5th is Osborne. 6th place there, the 7 of Beau Hill. Good start here for the number 7. Young Beau starting to make his way forward in this field. As they single file down this back straight onto back into the race. Winning breeds winners, that's for sure. He's had a taste of it this morning. He wants to keep it going. Grant takes another look back. Baccaris is there in 3rd, but we've seen him have a black and white flag, so we don't know what that issue was. Still 4th place for Skeets. 5th Osborne, Beau Hill, then the 48 of Caden Probst. Probst just in front of the 36. That's Liam Pink. 2 wide off turn 1. Well, we're going to go freight train, because it's tightening up in behind Grant, who's retaken the lead. And the more these two swap positions out front, it's just going to bring a whole stack of young kids back into it. Vortex Mini ROK, if you're not here watching it, you're going to miss out. You'll have to watch it on the live stream. And it's never as good as live. There's the move to the inside. He couldn't quite do it. Grant hangs on. He's got a bit of a rubber neck, though. He needs to just focus forward. Skeets, Osborne. Probst has moved up another one into the top 6. Beau Hill then has gone back 1 or 2 positions. We'll have a look, see who else came through on him, and that would of course been the 36 of Liam Pink. Pinky made the move on Beau Hill, and right behind him was the South Island champion Zach Christensen. We're a 1/3 of the way through this pre-final. Whoa, up on the grass for Skeets, that familiar green helmet. That's going to rack and stack in behind because that compromised his race pace. He hangs on for fourth, but it does mean that the top three have now got a breakaway. That's given some breathing room to Baccaris, and they're all rubbernecking, having a look around. Maybe Baccaris is thinking, I had a whole bunch of carts behind me, now there's a gap. Douglas in front. Well, you can see him working hard in the inside somewhere on Douglas, and that's just going to bring the field back. And we could end up with something like a 10-cart freight train as they go too wide through Southern Paints, through the MKS infield, down to Macaulay Ford. At the back of that pack is the 13 of Aston Addy. Aston, he won't be happy about being that far back. Dylan Grant from Mount Wellington hounding him there in second place as the temperature drops once again once that sun goes in behind those clouds. Baccaris in third. He's going to have to push as hard as he can because if he gets an infringement or a penalty at the end of this, once he goes and responds to that black and white flag, that could be a time penalty. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. 10 to go. Douglas, Grant, Baccaris, Osborne, Skeets. Skeets was the one having a look around then. Look at this, the big move down the inside on that final turn for the 14 of Marissa Arfield. These youngsters fighting for every bit of this racetrack. Too wide further back at turn 2. That got really tight. As we go back to our race lead. Douglas still leading. Half race distance gone. We're on lap 8 to go. We're 10 laps in. And the top two are starting to get away a little bit. Baccaris doesn't have the pace in third. He could come under threat from the chasing pack because Skeets has recovered from that little bit of a grass excursion he had about 3 laps ago. He's got his race pace back up. Holding out the 48 of Caden Probst. Then behind him's Osborne. The 36 of Liam Pink. Pinky up the inside. Threw it down the inside at Macaulay Ford. Check out this big bunch battling it out. Now the South Island champion Christensen comes through. Pinky's on the grass. Manages to scrub the tyres before turn 1 because that could turn nasty. They are fighting for all of this racetrack, scrapping it out. Pre-final action brought to you by International Kart Supplies. Well, Douglas has had the measure of Grant, or is Grant playing a patient game? I don't know if these youngsters know too much about patience just yet in their careers. They just go for it lap after lap. We've got 6 to go. Baccaris third, Probst in fourth, Skeets fifth. Now through for 6th place. The South Island champion Christensen finally starting to show some pace here this morning as they go 3 wide down into turn 1. Douglas looking strong in front. One of the best teams, undoubtedly, not just in the South Island, but in New Zealand. It is the WKS KartSport team. As they come off Macaulay Ford sweeper, down to the final turn with 5 to go. Baccaris third, Probst a brilliant drive in the top 4, Skeets 5, Christensen 6, Bowhill 7, Osborne 8, Pinkson 9. They duck and dive. Looks like Osborne and Pink might have made a pass. And Grant now is challenging for the race lead again. The 20 of Dylan Grant, the IKS Race Engines driver from Mount Wellington, is right in the zone. Down the back straight. 5 to go. Can he get in the draft this time? He's not scared to throw it up the inside. Not close enough as they run down into 1. Well, Douglas has now been a long-time race leader. He's led about the last 6 or 7 laps. But it's only going to be the last lap that matters. Baccaris still in third. It's been a lonely drive for him. Another of the Mount Wellington drivers. Doing just enough to stay out of the clutches of the 48 of Probst, who's had a brilliant race to come through the field. Another look back for the 23 of Skeets. 4 to go. This time, Grant to the inside. Drives on by. Uses all the track up on the ripple strip off turn 1. New race leader again for about the 4th time, the 20 of Dylan Grant. Well, these two were actually quite smart in the fact that they waited. Well, Dylan Grant waited for his chance until they were far enough up the racetrack that it didn't matter if they started duking it out for this pre-final, because Baccaris is too far back. Baccaris has got his own problems because he possibly can sense that the 48 of Probst is starting to close up on him. 2 laps to go now for Dylan Grant. Again, another look as well for Douglas. Baccaris, he's the one under threat. The pack is starting to close. 65, Seal Jones has had to fight his way back up through the field. There's the 14 of Marissa Arfield, the 91 kart there of Charlie Coleman, the 5 of Zach Blinko, the 11 of Blake Knowles, and the 47 of Mason Potter. Well, Potter had issues earlier on, because no way should he be at the back. Last lap board is out. Can Dylan Grant hang on? He's going to have to go defensive because Douglas has got pace. Douglas looks to go the long way around the outside, does the switch back up the inside at turn 1. 2 wide as they come off the turn, but Grant has got the running, clips the curb. Will that compromise pace up into Southern Paints? He's got to try and go defensive through the infield because Douglas is all over him, working the track inside, outside. And Baccaris has been caught by Probst. I don't know where to look right now. We've got a cart off on the grass, caution out. Oh no, Douglas, Grant's just given up the race lead when he didn't need to. And good work by Douglas to give it back. And it's taken it away from him to challenge. The win will go to Grant. Douglas will take 2nd. 3rd place, I'm pretty sure that went to the 25 of Baccaris. 4th place will go to Probst. But I'll tell you what, that was very smart driving by the number 9. Douglas knew that he shouldn't have made a pass there because of the caution. Although Grant backed it right down, he shouldn't have, he didn't need to. But Douglas was the one with the smart head on his shoulders then and allowed him to retake that 1st place position. But it did take away a chance for Douglas to try and win the pre-final. But he's still on the front row, and it's going to be a brilliant final coming up later on. Well done, Dylan Grant on the...
Yeah, impressive driving from both of those young fellas there.